heart of man is wicked. But naturally, man carries the image of God. Why is man continually, daily, increasingly becoming wicked, disastrous, destructive, jealous? We have a clear example in the gospel of today. The master of the vineyard that represents God had done everything possible for his vineyard. He chose the land. He decided to plant vines, precious, choice vines. He built a wall, dug in a wine press, and built a tower. He had made everything possible. Then he leased the vineyard to workers. Their duty was to come, to maintain, to prune, make sure the vine produced fruit, and the vine is product. Instead, they become killers. They destroy life. They become jealous. They come to usurp power. I gave these 5 points in my homily in Italian this morning. I said, first I presented the characteristics of the workers in the vineyard and the master of the vineyard. The master was passionate. He had the land. He could have used the land to build a house. He could have used it to cultivate anything, but he decided to cultivate vines, passionate about vines, because vine brought joy to the heart of man. Then he went. He didn't just cultivate the vine. He built a wall, dug a wine press, and constructed even a watchtower. Built everything, made everything possible. He's laborious. He's passionate. He's caring. And he leases the vineyard out. He's trustworthy to workers. Then they come. What do? Horrendous. They become killers. They become jealous. They come to usurp. Why do they act in this way? 5 points that make the heart of man increasingly wicked. First, I give you these points. When we move out or we distance ourselves from the master of the vineyard, when we distance ourselves from God, we become destructive. Anybody who is destructive in this world is a man or woman who has distanced himself from God. So be very careful anytime you sense that somebody says he's presenting himself as an atheist, he doesn't believe God. Be very, very careful. Not only that, there are people who pretend to be believing God, but they do just publicly, but in the cover of the night, they do not reverence God. So when man distances himself from God, he harbors destructive intentions too. When we live as masters instead of servants, the master employed these workers. They were supposed to be workers. At home, we have grandparents, we have parents, we have children. When children decide to act as parents, when parents decide to act as grandparents, there is always chaos. We know what is happening in families. When we decide to act as God, play God, we become destructive. We are children of God. We are not God, or we are not minor gods. We are children of God. 3, when we refuse the divine protection. When people assume they move away from God and they go under certain protections, they move into occultism, they join the masonry and other sects that promises them protection, wearing things around their waist, around their arms, and flexing their muscles about, oh, I don't fear anybody, I don't fear anybody. It tells you that, yes, they've sought protection from elsewhere. Proverbs 15:3, the eyes of God moves around the world. God sees, he knows everything. So if anybody moves away from the divine protection, that person harbors destructive intentions. If this person can move away from God and seek protection from other places, he doesn't care about your life. Can eliminate you, annihilate you and your family. The fourth point, jealousy. Jealousy. When we are not content with what we have, why has God made this person that woman that? We need to be content. The world is not made up of only men. The world is not made up of only women. We have men, we have women. That is why we are not all born on the same date. Today is 8th October. All of us don't share the same date. We are not all born on the 8th of October. We have different dates. So we should be content with what we have, else we will harbor destructive intentions like the workers in the vineyard today. And lastly, when you try to dominate over others, that is happening among nations. Big economies try to dominate poor ones, thinking that they have power over them, they can control them. When we bring it down to our level, we do same. We harbor domineering spirit. We think that we can and we should dominate over everybody. Dearly beloved, I pray that these 4 points illuminate our minds. If we harbor any of these things, we need to surrender them. St. Paul advises us in his letter to the Philippians, chapter 4, verse 8. All that is honorable, all that is noble, all that is pure, if there's every virtue, if there is anything worthy of praise, pursue this. And let's purify our minds from these destructive intentions. The peace of the Lord be with you. Let's be collaborators with God. Let's remain his sons and daughters, his servants, and let's not play God. Stay blessed and have a wonderful week. Amen.